Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. In this video, I'm going to take a look at a couple of spectacular examples of fake climate news. Here's an article from the Economic Times. Watch collapse of Argentina's Perito Moreno glacier caught on camera. Then they go on with some propaganda about glaciers disappearing. Let's take a look at the video, which they described as the collapse of the glacier. There is no audio in this section. What we just saw was a glacier calving. Glaciers are rivers of ice. Excess snow builds up at higher elevations. Gravity compacts the snow and forms ice. Then the ice flows down to the water as a glacier and breaks off. Describing a calving event as being collapse of a glacier would be equivalent to describing water flowing over Niagara Falls as evidence of a drought. The reason the glacier is calving is because there's a lot of ice flowing down from higher elevations. Reality is that the Perito Moreno glacier isn't retreating, it's advancing. Every day it moves several feet as it calves off the same amount. Glaciologists call this equilibrium. This is Google Earth imagery of the glacier in 1988, and this is what it looked like in 2020. The edge of the glacier is in exactly the same place. The Economic Times created a completely fake climate story, which is fairly typical. Now let's take a look at some other information about glaciers. This is a Scientific American article from 1904. Observations of the alpine glaciers during a series of years have supplied proof that these great ice streams have long been in process of recession. The glaciers of Greenland are also receding, and they describe the retreat of the Jacobshavn Glacier beginning in 1850. The Jacobshavn Glacier in Greenland retreated very quickly from 1850 to about 1950, and then it slowed down quite a bit. And now NASA reports that the Jacobshavn Glacier is actually growing. So during the 1850s, the glacier was retreating very rapidly, but now the glacier is advancing. This chart from Science magazine in 2005 showed how glaciers started retreating during the early part of the 19th century. Alaska's most famous glacier at Glacier Bay started retreating around the year 1780 and retreated 30 or 40 miles by 1860. In 1902, it was reported that the glaciers of the Alps were disappearing. Let's take a look at the date of this Scientific American article, 1904. Scientific American said that alpine glaciers and Greenland glaciers had been receding for a long time. But on the official U.S. government temperature graph from NOAA, they show 1904 as being the coldest year on record. And they show that Earth cooled very rapidly from 1880 to 1904. So glaciers were retreating during the coldest years on record, but now the Jacobshavn Glacier is growing when temperatures are very hot. That doesn't make any sense. Ice doesn't lie, but government climate scientists do. Now let's look at this story from Newsweek from 2016. South Florida is sinking. Where is Marco Rubio? They said sea level was going to rise between 6.6 and 30 feet by the year 2100. I'm impressed by the 6.6 figure. They are professing precision about 2 orders of magnitude better than the range of their accuracy. That's the sort of junk science which I've come to expect from climate academics. And on top of that, they blamed the sea level rise on Marco Rubio. If their prediction of 30 feet sea level rise by the year 2100 were accurate, then sea level at Miami would have risen about 18 inches since this article was written in 2016. Let's take a look at Google Earth imagery to see if Miami is actually disappearing. This is Miami Beach in 1995, and this is the same beach in 2021. If anything, the beach has expanded. Here's 1995, and here's 2021. This is the beach at Fort Lauderdale from the 1960 movie Where the Boys Are. Let's take a look at what that beach looks like now. If anything, the beach has expanded since 1960. The Miami region is having a large building boom. The area is only a few feet above sea level, and if lenders actually believed sea level was going to rise between 6.6 and 30 feet, I don't think they'd be giving out loans. This article is typical of the baseless fake climate news from the press. The sole purpose of it is to scare people into giving up their reliable supply of energy. Toto's been pulling back the curtain on this massive scam for the past 15 years. You can visit him, Kyrie Caesar, Toki, Upala, and the 4 new puppies on the web at realclimatescience.com.